Hi, I'm Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. We do a lot of videos where I show you how to make a quilt top, how to do the patchwork, but I haven't done very many where we show you what to do when your quilt top is done. So I pulled out one of my quilts from my stash here, and I am going to show you how to pick a backing, how to pick a quilting pattern, and we can get this finished up then. So grab one of your tops and we'll get started.
It's getting towards the end of March here in Grants Pass, and last night we had a little snowstorm, and you can see in the foothills around us the beautiful snow came down, and it's like a little mountain village around here now. The air is really brisk and I'm really enjoying it. Okay, what are we looking for?
We need to get a backing. We need to get a couple of options for backing here. So we're going to check the
Let's
batiks.
check the batiks, yeah.
All right.
All right.
So I'm going to check for something that has some turquoise and purple if I can find it. And Matt's going to pick out a couple options and we'll see what looks good.
I think one of the neat things about choosing a back for your quilt is that you can choose any pattern, really any color you like. It's totally up to you. In this case, we're going to try to match this quilt. And I spotted this one here, which I like. It's very, matchy-matchy, so to speak. Donna, what'd you find?
Well, I have a couple of almost solid purple batiks.
Those are nice. Those are real nice too. Definitely could use those.
They're not as much fun as your printed one. I like the printed one a lot better.
So, no, finish. Go and finish. I wanted to.
Let's get some more options.
Okay.
The patchwork quilt is Robert Coffey.
Okay, that makes sense.
There is a ton of fabrics that would work here.
Oh yeah. I mean, Donna, you could go so many different ways.
I mean, look how nice
if
that
you like
looks
that,
with
that
it.
would be marvelous.
I
I'm
love
tempted
that
to do
with
that.
it. Look at the purple grapes with it.
You could.
Now
it's not as good color-wise to me,
No,
but that's not a big deal.
no,
It's
but
all a matter of choice.
Yeah, if you were
Taste.
giving this to someone who was a wine lover, for instance, the grapes might be good.
One of the tricks that I use when I'm picking colors, picking a back or anything, is I like to take the piece of whatever I'm trying to match and just hold it up and just look for a while and see what tones come out.
Okay.
So Donna, these are some of the choices we've picked out. What do you like?
So I think we should do that for the backing.
Okay.
And then come back with this for the binding because that will look good on that side and on this side.
It looks great. And
What do you think?
I think in this case you're also 100% correct.
I just wanted to show you a couple more options for backings. I love to mix K facet prints with batiks. That would be fun. What I really like is this one. See how it picks up all the colors? Then your quilt would be completely reversible, but would look great if you see both sides together. Now we need to figure out how big the back should be. Most long arm quilters are going to want the back to be 6 inches bigger both ways than your quilt top is. So my quilt top is about 37. So I'm going to want to cut the back at least 43 inches. And then for length, we've got 54. So I'm going to want to make it at least 60 inches long. So I need 43 by 60. Now my batik is extra wide here. So this batik is actually about 44. So I'm not even going to need to seam this. I'm just going to cut at least 60 inches long, and then that will be big enough for my backing. I've got the quilt all loaded onto the machine. The next step is to pick a thread color. I usually like my thread color to recede and not show a lot, but once in a while I really want those quilting stitches showing. So here are my options for thread colors. Any of these will work, and what I like to do is just reel off a bunch of it and look at it on the different colors. So how is it going to look on the turquoise? How is it going to look on the purple? This is another option. So my thread is going to show somewhere because I've got distinctly different colors here. I'm really thinking that the purple will look the best. I want this to show a little bit, and I think I'm going to like this purple. So I'm going to load this purple on the top and on the bobbin. So you want to double check and make sure that's going to look on your backing, look good on your backing. And I think purple will show up a little here, which I want, and that's going to be really nice. All quilters who use a computerized system will give you a choice of patterns that you want to have on your quilt. You might want spirals, you might want feathers, you might want flowers. So here's a pattern I'm considering doing. This is a feathery pattern called cockatiel feathers. And if I want to see what it's going to look like on the quilt, sometimes I will do a little extra section just on the batting. So I'm going to do that right here. I'm just going to do a test section to see if I like the shape, the size, the scale. I like this pattern really well, but it's pretty dense, and I might like something a little bit more abstract, so I'm going to try one more before I make my decision. I like that one a lot better. It has small swirls, but it's also going to have these bigger swirls, and I think that's going to look really good. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to let this machine do its job. It's going to quilt a whole row. We'll move it a couple times, and then that will be done. After we get the quilt bound, I'm going to show you this one compared to a couple other quilts that we have that are in a very similar pattern, but with different patterns, so you can get an idea of what different patterns will do on the same kind of quilt. We've got 4 quilts here that are done in the same pattern, but they have different quilting options. So this will give you a really good idea of what the different quilting patterns will look like. This is the one we worked on today. Big and little swirls, pretty dense quilting. I personally like more quilting. Not so that it gets stiff, but this is still plenty pliable. And you can see the purple thread, you can see the shadows of the quilting. You can see it on the back pretty well too, because the thread is darker than the back. And I really like the contrast of the swirls on this geometric pattern and on the floral. Now this little one here, it's basically the same pattern, a little more stripy, but it's soft baby colors, so I did this in flowers. So there's flowers and buds and swirls. Again, it's pretty dense because if it's going to go to a baby, you probably want it quilted pretty densely because it's going to get washed a lot. This has an almost solid back, so you can really see the quilting there, even though the thread blends in completely. But that looks really, really pretty. Now the 2 behind me here, they are quilted with exactly the same quilting pattern. This has little teeny leaves and swirls. On the back of this one, the thread really blends in quite well. But on this one here, I used turquoise thread on a dark purple background, so you can really see the quilting. And sometimes you really want to highlight that quilting. I think it makes it a lot more fun. So this gives you an idea of what different patterns will look like on basically the same quilt. I hope that helps answer some of your questions about how do I quilt my quilt? What color thread? What pattern? Now, if you have more questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. Thanks for watching. I love that with it. I know.
It really livens that up.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.